Did you know that tennis got its start in the 14th century when European monks played it for religious ceremonies? It certainly is old. For the amount of time it has been around, you would think that it would be known throughout the world. Wrong. Tennis is a sport that I believe doesn't get enough fame in our world today. The athletes that compete in grueling matches that can sometimes last up to 5 hours are some of the best in the world, and yet they don't get as much attention as the people in the NBA or the NFL get. I was exposed to tennis during 6th grade, and I have loved it ever since. I respect the skill that it takes to be actually good at it, and I think that anyone who decided to pick up a racket, either in FIAD or over the summer, respects it as well. I believe that if people understood some of the history of the game, they could appreciate the sport, its tournaments, and its athletes even more. I chose to fight choice on the oldest, the most prestigious tournament in all tournaments, Wimbledon. Wimbledon came almost by accident. In 1816, the All-England Croquet Club was founded. Being that became well-graded area of room grass, it was only a matter of time before time had the people in idea of tennis playing on it. Long tennis on first place there, played in 1885. Caught on quite quickly. In 1877, an ad was put in a magazine advertising a live tennis bonding meet at the All-England Club. It was calling all its players and all skill event to come play on June 9th and the days that followed to determine a champion. The only things required by the attendees were a racket and shoes without heels. The club gardener would provide the balls for play. On that day, 22 men showed up. Croquet was slowly fading away as the people embraced the new pastime of tennis. At this time, the club didn't have a lot of luxuries. The rackets were very primitive, almost resembling snowshoes, and the balls were covered in hand-sewn flannel. The first stands were just 3 rickety planks that on a good day could maybe hold 30 people. The tournament, however, was a success, having 200 people attend the final match. During the early days of this tournament, only men were allowed to compete. Women were allowed to play on the grounds, however. Finally, in 1884, they offered the first women's lawn tennis tournament. The only catch was that it could only take place if the men's tournament had finished. The first place prize in 1884 was the silver flower basket that 13 women came out and competed for. Overall, the tournament was a success. Throughout the years, Wimbledon became a much bigger deal. London won the bid to host the 1908 Olympic Games and decided that the tennis event would be held at the All-England Club. The men's event was very successful, thus helping the game grow even more. In the following years, Wimbledon attracted athletes from all over the world, who kept getting bigger and bigger every year. In World War II, the club was a victim of the bombings over London. The legendary center court was hit in the grandstand in 1940. The club was unable to fix the damage until 1947, thus not letting them have any tournaments until 1946, when they decided to still play despite losing 1,200 seats to the wreck. The people could finally get back to playing instead of fighting. Throughout the years, many great champions emerged triumphant at Wimbledon. Some names that you should know about are Rod Laver of Australia, Arthur Ashe and Billie Jean King of the USA, and Bjorn Borg of Sweden. They have created some of the best moments in the history of not only Wimbledon, but the sport of tennis as a whole. Some of the modern-day stars that you may already know about are Novak Djokovic of Serbia, Roger Federer of Switzerland, and Serena Williams of the USA. They have won numerous Wimbledon titles as well as others. Now you may be thinking, what is so hard about playing on grass instead of just the regular courts we have here? Well, throughout the match, the condition of the grass gets steadily worse. It wears down, thus affecting the bounce of the ball, along with your footing. If you have ever watched a Wimbledon final on ESPN, you can notice that the grass looks like it is in tough shape. Grass courts also tend to play faster than most courts, giving you less time to react and hit. Overall, it is a challenge to play for 2 weeks on an ever-changing surface and win. I hope this informative speech has given you a little bit more understanding of the sport of tennis, along with appreciating one of the oldest tournaments in all the sports a little bit more. Thank you for listening.